A very special thank you to everybody who tunes in to the Justin Podcast. And I also want to give a special thanks to all my sponsors.
Hi, Tom Bodette, quote, checking in on my smartphone. Everyone's checking in nowadays at airports, restaurants, appointments with certain medical specialists. Seriously, people, TMI. Anyway, thanks to the Motel 6 mobile app, you can book a clean, comfortable room at Motel 6 on your smartphone and get a great rate. Then, when you get to Motel 6, you can check in. After you check in, your friends will be totes jealous. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
He's considered to be the greatest announcer in XTV history. And now, Justin Turkey-Leg brings his famous voice along with his awesome friends to the podcast world. This is Justin's podcast.
Oh boy, it's a Sunday morning, bright and early. Just got out of bed not too long ago to record this intro and brush my teeth. Ladies and gentlemen, of course we down here in Tampa Bay, Florida. It gets hot as blazes. And last weekend, we had a real bad thunderstorm. You know when the thunder, when it hit real strong, you know what I'm saying? You know it's coming too, because you get that big old flash of purple lightning for a half a split second. It happened real fast, but it was quick enough to know something finna happen. And then it get ready. It's like when somebody getting ready to punch you, man. It's like when your mama getting ready to whoop your ass. You know it's coming. You anticipating a strike, and then kaboom. See, it's too early in people's sleep, so I can't do it justice the way I want to. But you know that boom I'm talking about. It's that boom that you got to recover from. It's that boom that you got to take cover from. You know what I'm saying? You got to duck down and cover your head. Put your ass in the air. Up against the wall, preferably. You never know who might be in the room. But anyway, you got to take cover. Okay? And that's what happened, man. And I took cover. And when it was all said and done, yes, there was damage, ladies and gentlemen. That thunder, that loud thunder strike, not lightning, ladies and gentlemen. The thunder did it. It wasn't the lightning. It was that big old rumble. That like when Kane fireworks set off. It was even harder than that. If you ever been to a live WWE show, you know what I'm talking about. You might as well be standing under the pyro. It was that deafening. Okay. My ears wasn't ringing or nothing. I'm up here on the third floor. That thing knocked out the internet. It knocked out the lights. And it did something else that I can't remember. Of course, since then, that has been fixed. But last weekend, we had to sit in the heat. Okay? Heat rises. I'm on the third floor. So you can imagine the agony. Sitting up there, up under the fan. That fan is blowing hot air. And you sweating. But this ain't a new thing for me, I'm down here in Florida. There's been plenty of summers where we've been miserable. No power because of some bad rainstorm. It just happens. This week, if we don't get stuff done on the weekends, ladies and gentlemen, then it got to get postponed. It just got to wait, because we too busy throughout the week. So that's why, a whole lot of stuff get crammed in on the weekends. That's why you see a lot of XTV content come out on the weekends, per usual, because we just too busy throughout the week. And a lot of times, even too busy to handle stuff right here at home. And that's why, I was able to make a phone call and tell these people, hey, come on over here and fix this AC because it got knocked out during the rainstorm. Okay, cool. I called them Friday. They came in on Saturday. They sent some guy, some clueless dude who didn't want to be here. He can't come around, look around, spray this, look at that, pinch this. Don't recommend me talking about, oh, you got to call them on Monday. Change the coils, clean the coils. Motherfucker. So I had to sit there in the heat for 2 more days just because he can't do his job. That's all that was. You know what I'm saying? Because it would have took up some of his Saturday. So he can give me this BS excuse. So we had to wait. till Monday. Now we sitting up here in the cold. They so-called fixed it. It's fixed. It's blowing cold air. But now I can't turn it off. And now it's too damn cold, ladies and gentlemen. Turn that thing up to like, I tried to turn the gauge up to like 88. Turn it up to 90. Okay? Please, warm me up some kind of way. It's 55 doggone degrees in here, ladies and gentlemen. In the middle of the summer, I'm up in here walking around my house with a coat and some sweatpants and a hoodie over my head. That's how cold it is inside my house. You walk outside, 88 degrees. Beautiful sunny morning. Something's got to change. My light bill gonna be sky high. Good guest we got today, ladies and gentlemen. Terry Williams, my old friend from back in the day. You know, people tell me, they say, Justin, you got a funny way of getting people over. You know, as I say, somebody said that to me. They was like, man, you got Martha over by being mean to her, talking trash about her. You know, you got Justin Jr. over by letting him talk down to you, talk trash to you, belittle you. And you treated Terry Williams like a slave. All those people that either treated you like dirt or that you treated like dirt, somehow, now they're in a prominent spot. I was proud of that. And he's here, ladies and gentlemen, and his opinion matters to a whole lot of people, and that's why I chose him. You know, we was going to do this a long time ago. Because Terry Williams is just one of those guests and now that he's the commissioner, I can't have him as often as I would have liked to. But that's why you see him on a couple episodes back to back from back in the day when I first was doing my podcast. I did it like that because, I was still in the process of trying to help Terry Williams get his name out there. Ladies and gentlemen, it was not that long ago. And the people who've been around in XTV, they know it wasn't that long ago that Terry Williams, if you would have mentioned him, they would have went, Terry, who cares about Terry Williams? Now this guy's making lists, breaking records, XTV commissioner. Oh yeah, he is that guy. And he's doing it again. J&W Boss surprised everybody, shocked the world after telling everybody that not until August we was going to be bringing AOA's Dead on Arrival to YouTube. But what a pleasant surprise. Friday night, get off work, turn on my computer. I squinted. I had to rub my eyes because I knew what I knew. I had known what I heard, and I looked. And there it was, ladies and gentlemen. I thought that this was some kind of another promo package, but then I seen the timestamp on it. And I was like, oh, whoa. And so there it was, ladies and gentlemen. AOA presents DOA, Dead on Arrival. I sat there and watched it in its entirety. A great pay-per-view. And then the next morning, me and my boy Terry Williams chatted it up. We wanted to do this review when it came out. We planned it that this was what we was going to talk about when Terry Williams came on, whenever the next AOA pay-per-view came out. Because mind you, I remember several months ago, it was a time where J&W Boss had reached out, sort of put out a video and was like, hey, listen, I do Universe Mode reviews, but I'm putting out this video because maybe I think it'd be cool if one of you guys review my thing. You don't see what I'm saying? I thought about that, and I'm like, yeah, that would be pretty cool to do, review a J&W Boss show. I'm not so sure if I've done anything like that. We've done reviews, but not a show for J&W Boss. Oh, well, there was the Breaking Boundaries. We broke that down. That was me and J&W. I think that was Breaking, or was it almost a lot? Some time ago, I had J&W on, and we was breaking down a card. But now we got Terry Williams here, ladies and gentlemen, the returning Terry Williams, and we're going to be breaking down that Dead on Arrival pay-per-view. He's my guest for the day. I think you're gonna like it. Couple things on my mind this week. We got the big pay-per-view, Summer Break, coming up. XTV Summer Break. Big matches scheduled for. This was actually, if everything goes the way it's supposed to, it'll go down today. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. You know, uh, we're just gonna have to find out. But with that in mind, and it's supposed to be live too. This pay per view is gonna be live. Of course, it's a traditional. It's a biannual or semi. What I don't know what they call it. Like every other year, it's like it's done that way. Every other year we do spring break, and every other year we do summer break. This is our year to do summer break. It was supposed to take place a couple weeks ago, but that didn't happen because of certain guys wasn't able to make it, so the show got canceled, and we put on something else instead. Always thinking about the fans. Always trying to keep our promises. But summer break is shaping up to be something pretty intense, as the main event has been decided, ladies and gentlemen. We got we got Bob Classic teaming up with the Killer, and they're scheduled to be meeting up against 80s Guy and Beast, aka Hank. Of course, we know that these guys don't really have no kind of real beef with each other. It's just that Monster, aka Commissioner Corey Jordan of the West Side, has decided that let's put Bob and Killer together to see if they really can get along. Because these guys, they still on probation. They can end up going right back in jail if they ain't careful. And hey, I've been watching them, and I'm gonna tell you like this, man. I ain't no snitch, but they ain't been no good at two shoes. But who has, right? Nobody here in XTV, including me. That's right. It just becomes a madhouse sometimes. But I think that they're thinking about holding a press conference. If it doesn't go down today, then there might be a press conference that's held down, and I'll be very interested in seeing that. And I think that'll definitely help the quality of that matchup. But you got 4 stars in there. 80s Guy. There was a time where when Bob and Killer wasn't like the man. I mean, they always was the man, but when it was kind of like doing other things, and then there would be other stars that's taking the top spot because they busy. Uh, they being Bob and Killer. I got to get one of them pronouns, pal. Shirts from Pro Wrestling Tees, because I don't like using pronouns because it's confusing. Okay. Anyways, um, but yeah, and the guys that were taking those top spots were people like the 80s Guy, main evented show in XTV for a year straight, holding down the championship, defending it each and every pay per view until he got to the last pay per view, where he was finally defeated by Black Blood. And then, of course, Beast. I mean, all his accomplishments and accolades go without saying. Former TV star here in XTV, member of the Troffa family. It goes on and on and on and on and on as far as Beast. I mean, it's completely dominating physical presence. Yeah, I can just go on and on. And those two guys had a great rivalry. Both of those guys got very storied careers. And when the decision was made on who's going to be the one to take on Bobby and Killer, who's formidable enough, who do we have, who's left, who didn't retire, you know, um, then that's what we came up with, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's a very exciting matchup. I think that there's a huge buzz for it on XTV. Even though, like we said, there's no backstory. It's just a conditional type of matchup, and we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? It's just this one time type of deal. But these are the things that something usually comes from, and if nothing else, it's gonna be a bust ass match. Another match that's been scheduled. David B. Boy earned his opportunity. If you watched the Funky Town show, you saw that David B. Boy came out victorious and climbed up that ladder, got the briefcase, and he is the man who's the number one contender to meet, no, number one contender, excuse me, to meet Charles Dean for that XTV Heavyweight Championship. What if B-Boy does it is the big buzz that's going on around here. Of course, on the other side of that, you got Charles Dean, and, you know, he's Charles Dean, okay? Ain't Charles Dean. So, that goes without saying. But, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, and B-Boy, and I was talking to Trunks about this. David B-Boy started in GXT. GXT was a failed brand that was supposed to be, it was something that we did that was supposed to be like another company outside of XTV. We just wanted to make another wrestling brand for whatever reason. We don't know. We don't know why the hell we want to have two brands. Like why we got to have NXTV and XTV? Why? Why? Nobody knows. We just do. We just do. And apparently we've always tried to do this, and that's why GXT came. And probably about 4 to 6 stars if I really thought about it. Out of like the entire roster of ridiculous characters, people like Martin Lawrence and Wesley Snipes, yeah, stuff like that. There was a guy named Juice. Destruction was a part of GXT. Uh, yeah, just random people. Uh, what was that guy's name? His name was 1000 or something. Is he half machine or is the machine half man? That came from that one song off of SmackDown versus Raw 2006. 'Cause I can take it in the end. Something like that. I'm trying to be quiet, ladies and gentlemen, because, the guys are sleeping. So I ain't trying to scream at the top of my lungs and let y'all hear my true golden voice. But, yeah, so that's where the idea of 1,000 come from, and I'm saying all of that to say that out of that only came over here to XTV. Who made it was Chris Major, and who did okay. He forced himself to be a star. He pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and although people resisted, it was his personality that made it work because he didn't care anyways. He didn't care about the people. He was the ultimate heel. And he accomplished some things in XTV. Of course, David B. Boy, he took a longer road, and as to where people thought that Chris might be. It was like, oh, maybe he will get it, but nah, B. Boy, he been grinding, man. He has been grinding. You know, Came to XTV, got linked up with Foxy. She gave him a bit of a rub, but then people started to say, "Hey, man, you just taking the rub from your sister. You ain't really popping like that, this and that or whatever." He separates from his sister, starts doing his own thing. Went into the Davy Boy Smith gig, turned heel, switched his body up. Teamed up with Best, held down the tag team titles, was with the Best Foundation. Did all these great things. Long hiatus. Nobody comes back. 4 years later, brings back Sketch. They do a run in NXTV Tag Team Champions. B-Boy knows that he's got multiple contracts, so as soon as he, gets the opportunity, he's put in this four-way match with three guys that could, eat him alive. I think he was in there with Beast, Black Blood, and one other guy. Might have been Tavari Howard. You know, but who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? Out of those four guys, that David B. Boy had this opportunity, and I would be remiss if I did not mention the Iron Man match with Killer. I'm sure somebody was screaming that or thinking it as I was running down, all his accomplishments. But that's just the thing. B-Boy's done so much, that it's easy to skip over things because he's had quite a storied career here in XTV. He's been trying to be that main guy. And this right here, Trunk said it to me. He said if he beats Charles Dean, that will make him a concrete top star. Okay, top notch. You in the club, B-Boy. All you got to do is win that championship. It's come to this. This is the difference maker, because B-Boy's got it, and I think he even made the top 8 AOA list. By J&W Boss. J&W came out with a list last week as a response to the top 5 list from Millennium and his guests over there on his podcast. And B-Boy made the AOA list. I think he was number 5. So that shows you right there that people outside of XTV are have him on their radar. That's a big deal because there's a lot of stars in XTV and NXTV. So for the stars to make it, for those stars that made it on that list, I think that just gave them a fresh coat of paint, as it said. And I'm very interested in seeing, particularly with B-Boy, how this plays out. Then there's the tag team match. The ladies in action, Tia Ray and Cassidy, just recently joining the main roster, and I think that they both won their matches at Funky Town. That's real good for them. Those girls are nothing but stars, pure stars in every sense of the word. All three of the girls, Akira, Tia, and Cassidy. Akira's the new women's champion over on NXTV. So Team MVS has not slowed down, although they've split up, and they're doing their own thing. And Tia and Cassidy are scheduled to meet the top girls over in XTV, Ada, Miss V, and Yosi, Miss J. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be big. Ada's big return to the ring. How is she going to fare? She's been wanting to get in the ring for a long time. She hadn't got pregnant, but she's ready now. She done dropped that baby. It's done been time after that. And she and Yosi, probably one of the greatest women's tag teams, or, I'll go as far as to say one of the greatest tag teams ever in XTV, and that's a big statement. But, I mean, they beat Blood and Sus. I mean, who was it? White Fang and Sus? Something else. No, it was Sus and Dead or something like that. You know? And those are two monsters at the time that were, this is when men could fight women. Those two young ladies went up against two monsters. Nobody thought they could do it, and they did it. So we're gonna have to see, how this turns out. That's gonna be a big one that I'm really looking forward to, because Cassidy and Tia, I mean, they just got it, and you know, you just see, it's like the XTV world versus this other world that's been around doing their thing. Who is the best? Who is the cream of the crop? Those are three matches that we got. There's other matches that are subject to change. I'm not going to mention right now. Plus, we might be seeing some returns here at this pay-per-view. People are still creating themselves, to be a part of this event. So it's definitely going to be something. This XTV's summer break. And we don't know where it's going to be emanating from. It might take place at the Funky Town Arena. Perhaps. I mean, I see that being a venue that's large enough for an event of this magnitude. Summer break is very important. Of course, you remember way back, well, you might not remember if you just becoming a fan of XTV, but way back in 2005 is the original spring break, back when Alec Trevelyan, a.k.a. Alec Truffle, was the commissioner at that time, and he just on a whim said, "Hey guys, you know what? It's time. Let's record it. Let's record a show." And on that night, the infamous Charles Dean versus Sus inside of a Hell in a Cell took place. Epic. On their reckoning, guys. You talk about a monstrous main event. And then look at this. All these years later, who's main eventing? That's right. I'm Charles Dean. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I just love when things come around full circle like that here in XTV. It just gives it just that much more of a feel. I just want to talk about real quick the Raylan show. I just want to give Raylan props for 5 solid episodes. I want to give props for getting it done. The entire crew over there putting that thing together, getting it done in a timely manner where we can get back into the swing of things. This guy named Jay, from way back in January, we had read one of his messages that he sent us, and let's see if I can pull it up real quick. He put LOL. He said that he thought it was so funny that one of the stars came out. He was responding to one of the episodes of NXTV. And he said something along the lines of, LOL, he thinks it's so funny that, one of the stars comes out to Moesha's theme. And, I told him, thank you for that. Here, let me read exactly what it says here. I was chatting back and forth. It says, "I'm currently watching your show, and I love how you're making it realistic, and I love how the show Moesha. Oh, I love the show Moesha. It's funny. You made that an entrance song for one of your characters. LOL. I was just wondering if you'd be open to add a character or person to your roster. I'd be really enjoyable watching experience if I could anticipate this character I have in mind appearing on your show." And yeah, so I thought that was real cool, and I said back to him, I said, hey, if you like that character, speaking of Raylan, then you'll like this show, and I sent him an episode. So it's just cool to know that that idea that we have for Raylan not only worked, but that it has grown to this point, and it's doing well. So props to her. All right, I've ran my mouth long enough, ladies and gentlemen. I know what you came to hear. You want to know what we thought. You want to know what we talked about. Well, guess what? You ain't got to wait no longer. It's on the other side of this break. My dog, Terry Williams, is next.
Subway Restaurant's Storytime Theater proudly presents Jack and the Beanstalk.
Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell something delicious. Hey, little fella, what you got there?
Oh, this? It's the big hot pastrami sub from Subway Restaurants.
That does look tasty.
It sure is. Climbing that beanstalk out there makes you hungry.
You mind if I have a bite?
Sure! I'll trade you for that goose over there with the golden eggs.
You got a deal.
Hungry for something big? Then pick up a big hot pastrami sub from Subway Restaurants. Layer upon layer of delicious hot pastrami stacked high and toasted to flavorful perfection on freshly baked bread. Topped with pickles, mustard, and melted Swiss cheese, it's the perfect way to satisfy any giant-sized appetite. Big hot pastrami available at participating restaurants for a limited time only. See restaurants for details. Subway. Eat fresh.
Mamma mia! Pizza Cake haven't chosen me to tell you about the new Corleone pizza. Soft white Italian dough, soaked in the finest Palermo tomato, all topped with 1 whole pound of Milano cheese. Then choose 5 toppings from the famous Pizza Cake 500. And remember what Mama said, leave room for dessert at Pizza Cake.
Always a good time catching up with my friend Terry Williams. How you doing over there, Terry? Oh man, I'm great. 10 o'clock in the morning, right on the head. Yeah, well, I called you 5 minutes ago, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But yeah, man, I mean, it's here. It has arrived. AOA, dead on arrival. How about that, Terry? Big surprise from J&W Boss and AOA and J&W Boss star. And I gotta tell you, I put on his comment section last night. What a pleasant surprise, and it definitely was. Didn't get a chance to watch it last night, but I just finished it right before I got on with you, Justin, and it didn't disappoint. Yeah, man, we might as well get into it. Terry, me and J&W Boss talk every now and again, and he's told me different things about what's going to be going on in the future endeavors of AOA, and one of the things that he told me that he was going to start implementing is intros to his pay-per-views. Right, and I think I heard from you that even at the Worlds Collide video, I think that he was expecting our guys, to put together a bit of a promo package with the sound that we were using at the time. But I think that, we dropped the ball. I think that was the only place that there was miscommunication. But, the folks over there at AOA are always thinking forward, and J&W Boss and Z-Ice and everybody who's involved really have it down pat. And you see it right here. I was absolutely blown away, Justin, when I watched, this pay-per-view. It left me, completely on the edge of my seat, bell to bell each match. I mean, there was no filler, at this particular event. This was absolutely spectacular.
It was indeed, and starting out with none other than A2J versus Wells. Terry, you want to talk about the elephant in the room?
Well, it's one of those things, Justin, where it's one of those things that as commissioner, I'm not really sure, where to stand on it, and especially in this new XTV world that we're in. But since it's out there and since you're putting it on the table, I'll just go ahead and say that just recently on Twitch, we had A2J meet up against Johnny Rivers, a bit of an homage to AOA. They put on 4 back-to-back spectacular matches for the audience who did stick around. Some people did stick around, and then they left out of the room once the A2J versus Johnny Rivers match was over. And Matt, big props to JJ Strong and yourself, Justin, for calling that match. But not to be long-winded, but A2J and Johnny Rivers, put on, and unfortunately we weren't able to record that, so that we were able to allow people in AOA and around the world to actually see how XTV actually held that matchup. But it's just a nod to AOA, a nod to General Gumby, the creator, and shout out to anybody else who uses A2J or Johnny Rivers on their show. And anytime you see those guys, you know that you're going to get a great matchup. And the same thing with Jason Wells, Justin. Let's be honest. I mean, a lot of guys, hag on Wells.
Boo.
No, listen, just hear me out here. I mean, this guy's a phenomenal competitor, and he's got to get his fair shake out there. He had the whole no potential gimmick, and maybe that didn't work out for him, or whatever the case may be. And maybe now he's starting to get more airtime and things like that, and people are starting to notice Jason Wells more. Maybe he can. Maybe he can do something with his personality to make him stand out a bit more. But I mean, that's a lot. That's something that many talents struggle with. But as far as in the ring and pay-per-view matches, I think that this is great placement on the card, having A2J go up against Jason Wells, and again, as I said, A2J is going to have a phenomenal matchup, and it's just going to be crazy.
Yeah, these guys, had things rolling real early in that matchup, and real early in the pay-per-view that J&W just J&W Boss, I remember in this match, Terry, start taking a shot at True Pain, trying to insinuate perhaps his sexuality. I won't take it no further than that. I'll leave it between those two gentlemen. And not only that, taking shots at True Pain early in the show, but letting shots be fired back at King Kong. J&W holding his own.
Of course he's going to hold his own. He's a man, and he's not going to fall back. He's got a reputation just like everybody else, and by no means. And I'm glad he did it. I'm absolutely glad he did it, because a whole lot of times, just for the sake of entertainment, a guy will go off script, or go a little bit left, and it's like, hey man, we're not responsible for the backlash that you get for this. If you wanna go there, you're gonna have to be able to take the heat. And J&W stood up for himself. I mean, my hats off to the guy.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I thought that was I thought that was pretty good stuff. I put in my notes, cold breaker finish was nice. Not surprised that being that A2J won, but again, it go back to what you were saying. I guess Wells would get the rub in this situation. You know what I mean? Because A2J is just so good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have to look at it like that, Justin. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I don't like this guy. But he is a heel. he is a heel, so to his credit, he's doing his job.
And then I also got I got competitive match. It was a good open, and then I put Austin Aries attack was interesting going forward.
It is interesting because it was mentioned in there that Austin Aries is actually A2J's mentor. I'm interested. You should ask J&W Boss about that, and how that came about, because did that thing start in AOA, or did it start in A2J's original company? Because to my surprise, when we did the deal with A2J and Johnny Rivers for the weekend, I was surprised at how popular these guys were with the fans. I mean, they're over. I saw Super Kick put in the comments of one episode of J&W Boss's show. He put he's got a dream match with Darren Talton and Johnny Rivers. I think that would be phenomenal. And so that's very interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like that. It's interesting that people like Austin Aries continue to be incorporated, with these shows. You know what I mean? And that's just something that J&W is doing that's different from what a lot of guys are doing.
Absolutely.
And then but check this out though, Terry. James Black comes out and hits Austin Aries, and then we think that he's finna come down to the ring and be like, "Yeah, man, I got your back. This all good." And then he takes out A2J.
Absolutely. James Black, probably not a guy that's on a whole lot of people's radar, but with this being such a huge show, he absolutely is now. Takes out A2J. Absolutely a great place, in my opinion, to make that type of a statement.
And then we go to an interview segment with Darren Talton. He's being interviewed by Michael Van Ness, and he's going on his spiel. What do you think about Darren?
Darren is he's a lunatic. He's unpredictable. He's a loose cannon, and he's wildfire, man. You gotta watch out for him. He's what's good about Darren is his qualities are very, very heelish, but he's clearly a babyface, and I think that one day he would be such a very compelling heel, because I find him, with no disrespect to him, I find him very easy to dislike, because he stands on his own 2 feet. He reminds me of Brian Pillman back in the day, because he stands on his own 2 feet, and he marches to the beat of his own drum, and it doesn't really matter, if you like what he's doing or not. He's going to go out there and fight for what he believes in, and that's what's baby facing him right now.
Yep, and I got in my notes, solid promo. He's he was prepared. He was prepared for what was about to happen, and he was letting us know. Then we go into the United States Championship matchup. Brandon Storm going up against Johnny Rivers.
Yeah, definitely. I listened to the New Millennium podcast, and I saw that J&W mentioned that Johnny Rivers not in anybody's top 5. How'd you miss that, guys? You definitely dropped the ball there, and including Reaper. I would include that as well. Definitely guys who should be in anybody's top 5. But Johnny Rivers could
could end up being, world champion one day. I mean, easily, or a major star again. We mentioned him in A2J. I mean, this guy, I got my eye on him, I believe, maybe a couple pay-per-views ago. But it's just been, maybe his last few matches. His last few, just like all his last few matches. It was probably way back at I want to say Onslaught or something like that. But Johnny Rivers is definitely like, top-notch talent, definitely a high-caliber athlete, and in that class that he can make anybody look good, a great ring mechanic. And I think it was mentioned here, that, ever since he's become the United States champion, he's just been showing, it's my time. It starts off with some great chain wrestling. And, that's just how you do it, right, Terry? I mean, you just get up in there, you grab a hold. You know what I'm saying? Side headlock. Shoot them in. Shoulder tackle. Get back up. You know what I'm saying? Jock for position. Headlock again. Go back around. You know what I'm saying? Arm bar. Stuff like that. Hammerlock. That's what I meant to say. These guys know what they're doing. Brandon Storm, to me, really put on an incredible, showing here. He really dominated and had some really, really strong moves. I believe that, this show was downloaded, and these guys are going to actually be on the highlight reel, because there was a whole lot of highlight worthy. I sent some stuff over to XTV Studios, and we're going to be prepping that up for this weekend. But, some incredible highlights from just this match alone. I mean, the first match was great, but then, this match just really set the tone. Or, the first match, I would say, set the tone for what was going to be happening the entire night. But this match, I mean, it just, really came out shooting. And Brandon Storm, really, a whole lot like what we were talking about with James Black. Brandon Storm really made me pay attention to him here. Yeah, it feel like, from my perspective, because Terry, I mean, over here in XTV, we only been seeing AOA for maybe the past year or so. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. But, this feel like a whole lot of guys is coming out party. And, Brandon Storm, man, really put on with Johnny Rivers. But we know that Rivers can give, anybody a great match. I put that Rivers super kick game is insane. Like that double knockdown, we saw. I think we saw that, several times. And I love when that happened, man. The fans to start chanting, "This is awesome" or something like that, because these guys are putting on a clinic. When you get into something like that, seeing Brandon Storm, and Johnny Rivers both laid out, it was just so great, man. And what's great about AOA too is what's so creative is that these guys really focus on their movesets, and that's what make these matches absolutely incredible. And they have a very interesting way of coming up with names for their moves. I remember hearing that Storm's move was called the Eye of the Storm, and then he just throws them over. That's the Foxy Hot Topsy-Turvy move. Throwing them up topsy-turvy. Yeah. Whatever. But it's just such great creativity when it comes to the in-ring action over at AOA, which is one of the things that's always been very attractive about that product. 5-star match. Follow that, y'all. Follow that, right? I mean, it's like this is only the second match, is what I'm thinking. Sorry about that. This is only the second match, and it's like, man, what can follow that?
That'll be an extra 20 and no cuffs. Oh, please.
You're too expensive, bitch.
Go drive with your left hand. In this business, you need all the protection you can get, and 8 out of 10 working girls use this Enduro Dom. the antiseptic long-life condom that won't let you down.
Endurodam, because when you're on the game, not all prophylactics are the same. Is your future safe? Life savings invested in a secure growth market? What about your children? You may be surprised to hear that 93% of bank investments are ethical, eco-friendly, and wide open to market collapse. A crash can strike without warning, wiping clean a lifetime of work and saving to destroy your future and the future of your family. The people at Third World Bank have different ideas, capturing the early potential of underdeveloped countries and spreading their money across a wide range of tobacco, defense, and pharmaceutical investments. Third World, keeping your money safe no matter the cost.
But you still know that you got these big matches, still to come. I feel like the pacing of this pay-per-view was just so great. Right after that, we go into Darren versus Nate Shields. And again, it just keeps on rolling. Nate Shields' entrance was definitely something to behold. Just very dark, and as he's coming down to the ring, and he's got that glowing jacket on, and you can't see his face. It's almost like his face is covered or something like that. I really like that effect that it added to Nate Shields. Just made him look like a very intimidating force. And, that was just something that really stood out to me that I wanted to make sure to point out here on the podcast. Nate Shields and Darren Taunton, the loose cannon. Darren would come in and, come in real fast pace, and, of course, start just laying it in on Nate Shields, you know what I mean? But, big nasty Nate, as they called him in XTV, would just dump him up over the top rope and really would not allow him to get no real momentum. Absolutely not. Darren took tremendous punishment going into that title matchup, and just being power bombed onto the steel stairs, like you mentioned, being dumped over to the outside of the ring, and just like so many devastating maneuvers that he took in this match. And this matchup went on for quite some time, and not that I was watching the clock, because I wasn't. I was just thinking in my head that the longer this matchup goes on, the more that Darren Taunton is going to have, some tremendous trouble with his main event matchup. Yeah, it was just crazy. One thing that I noticed, Terry, is and this was throwing me off, and I was doing a little bit of ribbing there. I was doing a little bit of ribbing in the comment section there with J&W when I said, oh man, I put SMH. I don't know why they all don't never press triangle. And that's when it was mentioned to me that, in AOA, Z Ice has regulated that the stars are not allowed to press triangle. Is that so? That's what he said. He said they are not allowed to press triangle, and I guess that's like a crutch. Did not know that. Yep. I said, wow, man, that's good. That's a good rule. That's a good rule of thumb, that no stars are allowed to use that triangle button, because that was just driving me crazy. I'm like, press triangle, you can kick out. But then another thing to me that I noticed is that, like, guys were kicking out, but I don't know if I'm looking at it wrong, but it seemed like guys were kicking out, but the bar was not in the red. It would be like way out of the red, like completely off, and guys were still kicking out. I'd have to take a closer look at that. Yeah, I seen, like, it seemed like guys was just kicking out, getting the shoulder up, and I'm like, that was a 3. It kept happening. It was driving me crazy. But maybe I'm just watching. Maybe I'm just watching too close, man. But yeah, Darren, by the end of this matchup, and then the attack by Nate Shields, just the the attack, the unnecessary attack by Nate Shields. But staying true to who he is. We called him Nasty Nate over here. He was the big dominant guy. They were all big and dominant. They were a gang, but he was just the big brutal force, and because that's what he is. His moves are incredible. He's very dynamic for a guy his size, and then just the destruction that he laid out in this matchup was just second to none. Absolutely, it was, and it was crazy. It left me thinking, it left me with the impression that Darian Talton has absolutely no way of even making it to the match at the main event. And then we go into Brandon Storm and Austin Wallace. And I thought that was pretty funny. Oh, yeah, he keeps on saying that chaos is right around the corner. Austin Wallace is such a great character. I like what they're doing with him, making him be, just a piece of crap heel, scared, always looking over his shoulder. Because, he has every reason to not feel that way. Here you are. You're the AOA All-Star champion. You've been holding down the championship all this time. But then again, maybe he should be feeling this way because, there was a little bit of cheating involved with the All-Star championship decision. So, maybe this is his karma. And, of course, he does have a championship matchup coming up, which I see him losing this matchup. I don't see him. I think that this reign is going to be over, and that's probably why he is looking over his shoulder. But Brandon Storm, and Austin Wallace, they definitely entertained us with that. And then we got the tag team championship, no championship advantage, Wolfpack going up against WMD. With Mr. Pac-Man, Chili Fritos. To be going up against a team like WMD, I felt like, Spike and Burns absolutely held their own. They did surprisingly well. WMD, they're just an insane tag team, and they really stand out to me. I feel like that team, WMD, are really. Have really got themselves rolling. I believe that they're relatively new. I feel like they're either new or maybe they're a team that's come back. But now they have Mr. Pac-Man on their side, and I sent J&W a DM via Facebook, and I told him, hey, we can get together, and we could set up something where Pac-Man, can get some promos on the show, to really help this team get over, because, it's definitely worth it with these guys to invest in them. Yeah, I liked them when I first seen them. I first seen them when Gorgon had, called the AOA commentary one week. Bloody bloke! My goodness, he's got nerve teeth. But yeah, I think that they'll be I think that they're gonna be great, and their moves is great. They won the tag team champions, the tag team championship. That was a solid tag team title matchup. It was everything that you expect. Not a dull moment, and that's just crazy. After what we had just seen, and then we seeing all these moves, man. But give credit to Spike and Burns as well. These guys, hey, great way to pass the torch. To the next team. I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen with them next. Are we going to see a breakup or something like that? I don't know. With these guys, they're great as heels. I think that they could just, go back for the tag team titles, or maybe we could even have a back and forth run between WMD and Wolfpack trading back and forth the tag team titles. I think that might be an interesting scenario. I think that that Wolfpack as a team, they might have some more miles on them, but of course, they have come from a lot. They have done a lot already. They are, I believe, strong individuals. So, it'll be very interesting to see what happens moving forward with both of these two. It will, man. The tag team title reign has finally ended with Spike and Burns, and then we have the Twisted Disciples versus the Club, a 6-man tornado tag match. Absolutely insane. Action everywhere. You could tell. I mean, and this matchup right here is the type of a matchup that's so hard to call. You just don't know, what's gonna happen in this type of a situation. I mean, you got all these guys, the Twisted Disciples with Reaper, and then of course AJ Styles and Gallows and Anderson. You have all these guys together, but it's a tornado tag match, and hats off to you guys for making it a tornado tag, because I mean, Lord knows those 6-man tag matches are a drag. I mean, you and I sat there for the live show, and I mean, the thing didn't even end. We just had to cut it off and make up something. Yeah. So I mean, and then you always got the AI coming in and messing up the gimmick. The match gonna be over, but this match was well paced. It was done well, even though it looked a bit like a cluster. It was the commentary. It's in these types of situations where I expect the commentary team to really get over the match, to be very entertaining. It's more so on the commentary team. You know what I mean? Because the guys in the ring, they're gonna work, and they gonna do what they do. You know what I mean? So you just got to make sense of this. You know what I mean? You really got to just put the lyrics to it. And this is where you got to step your game up. But, these guys, J&W Boss and True Pain X, who are, on fire all night, they really have gotten their synergy down. And, they're just two good friends that's just, calling the show and having a good time. And I feel like that's what made it insane, because these guys were just, so into it. Yeah, you can tell that True Pain X was definitely looking forward to this matchup all night. I'm pretty sure that the Twisted Disciples, are his guys. So, he's got a couple dogs in the hunt in this one. And, it's pretty cool, to, be able to get his perspective from, in this type of a matchup, being that he is the creator. Yeah, the matchup was finished by JH3 with the broken wheel to completely, finish the matchup. Then we, get some ominous writing on the screen. Don't know nothing about what this is about, Terry. I thought it was one thing, but nope, it wasn't that. I ain't gonna say what it is. J&W may know what I'm talking about, or who I'm talking about. It wasn't that. I'm just going to leave it at that. But it was Chaos, and he comes out, and he does a number on Reaper. And, man, I mean, Reaper's, I guess he reaped what he sowed in this situation. Chaos, I was wondering where he was going to get placed in this pay-per-view, and he makes the surprise appearance, the dark writing. This guy is a great star, and, he could be like a Goldberg. I'm saying it, he's like a Goldberg. I mean, he's so dominant, he's so smash mouth. Another one of True Pain X's guys, that just, is going out there and, really making people notice him. And, props to AOA for just using this guy, so well. Yeah, destroyed Reaper, putting him through the table, of course, the Twisted Disciples, getting up out of there. No Carolyn Amber at ringside, of course. Not in 6-man tags. Maybe next year, kids. But I thought it was cool the way Chaos showed up, and then the red lighting, and then the lights came back, and yeah, he just destroyed Reaper. So that was a feel good moment. At first I thought that they were gonna turn on him, because I'm like, no, don't do that, because I like the Twisted Disciples and the Reaper being together. I think that makes Reaper fresh. It does make him fresh. He doesn't need to have anybody with him. We didn't really have much for him and Kevon when they had their feud going on. We tried to put Jackie Z with him, but Reaper is a sort of a guy that stands alone. But being with the Twisted Disciples, that works because they have sort of a dark gimmick as well. Then we go backstage again, where we see Nate Shields. No, not Shields. That was Dwayne Frost. Yeah, Dwayne Frost. I don't know why I put Shields in my notes. It was Dwayne Frost. I'm rewriting it like it matter. But anyways, it was Darren and Frost, and these guys, backstage, Frost kind of jousting at Darren, and having a little bit of fun with him. But then, Darren, that loose cannon, he nuts, he crazy. He actually swung on Dwayne Frost. These guys start fighting each other, and then like I don't remember what had happened with Frost, but he hadn't got the best of Darren. He did something, and he got the best of Darren, and then next thing you know, Destry shows up, and now that got me pretty excited, for what might happen with Frost and Destry. Yeah, it's crazy. They keep this NWN thing going as well, too. It's like NWN AOA, NWN NXTV, or XTV, however you want to look at it. But, that's how it's been, and it's no love lost. I mean, the saga continues, with these guys beefing with the Tarletons, these guys being the NWN. Destry coming out there, and, what stands out to me is the fact that Darren says that he wants to destroy the NWN piece by piece. Well, he was not successful at doing that with Nate Shields prior in the night in this matchup. So, it was actually him that got destroyed. And so, then here's Big Papa Frost, who's backstage, and he gets dealt with by Destry. And then, we saw the brothers meet up with each other. Way to keep, Destry special by, not putting him in matches every week on TV. He just shows up every now and again when it makes sense. And, that makes him a big star. I mean, he's a former, AOA world champion. So, he needs to be treated like he's, a high caliber star. And the next time we see Destry in a matchup, whether it be up against Dwayne Frost or whomever, it is going to be more important.
Now, we all like a good burger, ketchup and onions with the cheesy bits in there and shoved into a steaming hot bat. But you need the beef, you see, and the Mad Burgers at Crazy CJ's have the best beef by far, they do.
Calorific, juicy, and delicious. CJD.
Crazy CJ's, home of the Mad Burger. You'd be insane to miss it.
Get out of the car, bitch,
When anyone tries to jack my car, I pull out my Susie!
Susie, home, office, and automobile protection guaranteed.
This ain't regular gas. It's rocket fuel.
What's wrong with you, boy? You some kind of faggot?
Oh, this really makes my motor go.
That's because it ain't designed for the environment.
It tastes better already,
He'll pull the hairs out of your chest, I guarantee.
Presley's Petrol presents super leaded gasoline.
A gasoline so sweet you wanna guzzle it too,
What's up, bros? Brian Melman here, and it's 420. You already know what that means. But on my next episode of the New Millennium Podcast, yes, it's coming up really soon. We just have to edit it and export it, guys. But it's already done and in the can. Justin Jr., we did it live in front of an audience at the Tampa Bay Theater. and I think you're definitely going to enjoy it. We talked about, how he showed up in XTV, what he's been doing all this time, and what he's going to be doing in the future. It's a whole lot of fun with the live crowd, guys. You know how the live shows get right here on the New Millennium Podcast on XTV East Coast.
And then here we go. The main event of the evening.
Ah, yes. Monster going up against Darren. Darren comes out there very, confident. But I gotta tell you, Justin, a little bit of insider stuff. I knew the whole time that Monster was gonna win. I had the Iggy because and I don't know what's gonna happen with Monster going forward, but maybe nothing. And Monster, is one of True Pain X's guys, but maybe he's just had his run.
He did.
I'm only saying that, Justin, because I'm only saying that because we're seeing Darren go through hell. We build up to this pay-per-view, and the weeks leading up, we're going. Well, from my perspective, I'm like, okay, I see what's happening. We're building. It doesn't look, and it looks like Darren's just a lunatic. But what's cool is the first hint that he might not, that the story was changed. The first hint had been that Darren, was going to be fighting two people. So that's the first hint, and not just to me, but to the entire audience. It's signaling to the audience. I know that if it works for me, it has to be working for everybody else because I got the Iggy. But the other guys, I'm sure he didn't, tell everybody else his plans. I'm sure of that, or else what will be the point? And so, he puts it out like that, these two matches are going to happen. So you get here and you see the destruction that is laid out between Nate Shields and Darren, and you're going, man, by the time the main event comes, he's going to be in a bad way. Then he gets jumped by Dwayne Frost right before his matchup. Right before his title matchup, he's getting jumped. So, this guy is really, just wrecked to pieces. I mean, he reminds me of Manuel Samuel. if you know the Xbox game.
Is that only on Xbox? I heard that we were supposed to be bringing that to XTV.
Well, we have to look into that. I believe that's only for Xbox, but that's how Darren was looking out there. Having to just manually control everything. Manually hold himself together. But, it definitely looked like he had no chance. So my hat's off again. Well done. He comes in. He came in and tried to get and tried to sneak up on Monster, but immediately, and even back to my point, here comes the Monster, catching him with the knee. You know what I mean? So it's like he even gets into the match, and you don't see any shot of this guy winning the match. And even myself, so I'm thinking that from a regular fan's perspective that's watching this, they're going, yeah, that guy's gonna lose.
Yeah, it looked like Monster really dominated here, and it looked like he caught a hard way up in there.
Now that's very interesting, and I don't know what people are saying about that, but I can tell you that that was a blade job, and I know for a fact, and it was very well done, and J&W Boss actually has a video on YouTube that explains how AOA do their blade jobs. I'm pretty sure it's still on there.
But Darren absolutely got awesome color. You don't see that. Hats off to him. You don't see that in many universe modes. Guys getting color that way. If I was being a little, picky, I would say that, for my taste, even though it was 9 out of 10, but to make it a perfect 10, I would have had the blood like right there on the sides of his face. It's a little bit too straight and a little bit too perfect. Maybe if we had like some sort of a trickle effect, like something squiggly to give it like it's trickling, down by the ears type of a deal. But besides that though, that's just me nitpicking. But because it was just such a perfect job that if I had to find something wrong with it, and not to even call it wrong, that's probably a bad choice of words. But that would be it. But he, like I said, he got absolutely awesome cover.
Yeah, he did.
Color, sorry.
Every time, man, it's happening right now, Terry. Every time I see Darren in the ring, or miss a power, I always think of Johnny Wrestling theme. This rebel heart. It's in my head right now just because we're talking about Darren. I told J&W that I just don't know why.
I think we made that his theme once.
Yeah, I told y'all to pick it. I said to pick it. But one thing that's good about Darren, man, is that like he got that heart though, and that's a great theme for him. Now that I think about it, this rebel heart. I don't know what the song called. I'm gonna play it whenever we get off the phone. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just stuck in my head. It's so good, but he is a rebel, and and he just got that iron will, and another thing that's making him like a good baby face because he fights from underneath, from such tremendous odds, and still, even with his size, you look at he fought up against Nate Shields early on in the night, and now he's fighting up against perhaps the largest guy in the entire company, Monster. Who it was even mentioned that not many people have cut him open or come close to a 3 count, and Darren did both. So at Worlds Collide, he was the MVP, and now tonight he becomes the heavyweight champion. What a story! I'm sure that Super Kick Gaming Party is so very proud. Of course, Super Kick, the creator of Darren, and he mentioned that. Imagine this: General Gumby's player versus Super Kick's player. That being Johnny Rivers versus Darren Talton. Of course, we're saying right here, Super Kick Gaming Party versus True Pain X. True Pain with Monster. You know what I'm saying, representing for him. What do you say? What do you say, Terry?
One thing I love is how Darren calls his move the sleeping pill. Again, just like, such great creativity. And then, it's a version of the RKO. He calls it the sleeping pill.
Yeah, that is a creative name. It sound more like a sleeper hold or something, like something that'll wear you out.
Oh no, this puts you straight to sleep. You're out of there. But it took 3 of those bad boys. It took 3 of those bad boys to take out the Monster, and I gotta stop calling them that. We only call him that in NXTV because he was like the giant of the NWO. They call him the Giant, so we called him the Monster. A little bit of insider stuff there, folks. But unbelievable contest between these guys. I think they went about 17 minutes. The false finish. Afterwards, or that one false finish after the sleeping pill was just so money. That was so money. Such a climax part of this contest. It was so well done by these 2 pros. These guys, and if anybody ever had any doubt, I think I said it at Worlds Collide. If anybody had any doubt that Darren Talton was a main eventer, or, if there was any doubt, like right here, he just now showed it to you. He headlined, Dead on Arrival, and he wins the championship, and in true fashion, after
so many odds. I mean, like AOA did a great job of making you buy into everything that was going on, and it was just so masterfully done. The storytelling overall, leading to this and in this matchup in particular, great storytelling, guys.
It was just killing me that Darren would not pin when he had the chance to press circle. I know. I realized that we talked about it earlier, Terry. They're not allowed to press triangle, but they ain't allowed to press circle. I mean, they should at least be able to press circle.
Well, you're gonna have to take it up with them.
Think about it. I mean, it's just the psychology of it, Terry. You was a wrestler, you know what I'm saying? You get in there. Why wouldn't you go for the pin if you got the opportunity? You know what I mean?
This is their story, Justin. I mean, you can't just have them do what you want them to do.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. Look, Monster can kick out. The match don't have to end there. You know what I mean? But Darren, why wouldn't he try to win in that case? Like, after he done been hit, and then Monster tried to hit him with the big finish, but he reversed and hit him with the tombstone power driver. Press circle, put his arms across his shoulders. 1, 2, oh! Didn't get him. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, that's a good point, but at the same time, we're talking about Darren. We've mentioned so many times, Darren's a loose cannon. He's not always trying to go for the pin. He's not always thinking straight. He doesn't think like you or I. He's just trying to destroy this man in front of you, because his motive is he wants to destroy every member of the NWN. So that's who he's fighting. We're talking about this Rebel Heart. As you mentioned, he's going in there and he's just rebelling. It's not about the championship to him. It's about destroying the NWN, and he wants the big guy first.
Yeah. Well, it was a great, and it was not long after that, after that tombstone, that he did get the pin. I think it was with a super kick.
He hit him with he hit him with a special, the sleeping pill.
Yeah. That's it. He hit him with the sleeping pill, and then the celebration begins. J&W Boss can't believe it. I mean, just an epic close to an epic night.
That ending was awesome. The color again was amazing. Because right there at the end you get a great shot at it, and I think that was probably premeditated by the guys over there. I mean, because they pay such great attention to detail that I think that they would purposely choose that scene where Darren Talton's down on his knees and the referee hands him the championship, and then you hear True Pain X go, he can't even believe it. There's just this silence, and then True Pain says that, and Darren's looking down at the championship, and he's finally won, and the camera gets that great shot at Darren's face, that bloodied and battered face, looks like a horror movie, and so those guys is called, along with just that visual, again, it just made the moment feel like something so important. It made it feel like it was a part of history. And once again, guys, absolute great storytelling.
Yep, that was it, guys. The entire card of Dead on Arrival. I mean, yeah. I mean, what would you give it overall? Out of 5 stars.
Well, I'm not Dave Meltzer. I don't have any nitpicky stuff. This was a solid pay-per-view. Perhaps the best AOA pay-per-view I've ever seen. That might be a stretch. It's probably been a while since I've seen it has been a while since I've seen some of the others, like Breaking Boundaries and Onslaught, and I forget what the other one's called.
There's a whole lot of other ones.
But my point is that this one right here, I mean, because AOA just continues to just
Keep killing it. Keep knocking it out the park. I'm going to give it 5 stars, Justin. This was a 5-star pay-per-view. I was highly entertained.
Oh man, well there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Terry Williams gives it 5 stars. He thinks that this was incredible.
I mean, maybe I have my bias, but at the same time, it's like we said, Justin, you mentioned, this was the coming out party for a whole lot of guys. I feel like moving forward, things are gonna, and this is just me speculating. I know some things, but I'm not a complete insider. I just know guys, and to me, moving forward, I feel like we're going to be seeing a whole lot of new faces. We've got AOR. I don't know if that was like a homage to them with the blue ropes on this night. We know the next episode of AOR is going to be coming up after this. So, that's cool that we don't have to wait all the way till August. For more AOA action. This could change the course of the AOA scheduling for the guys. The guys are going to be working more days. It's going to be a good thing. And, these guys are going to be getting a chance. So, it's going to be really good, though. The main stars of AOA, are becoming bigger stars, in my opinion. And it's just the way that things are being booked, in my opinion. I think that they're doing a phenomenal job. 5 stars, guys.
There it is, Terry Williams, guys, giving it 5 stars. But maybe you ain't think it was 5 stars. Tell us in the comments what you think. Like us below. You know what I mean? And I appreciate it, Terry, man. Always good catching up with you.
Oh, well, thank you, Justin, man. Always fun, talking about XTV or talking about anything with you. Have a good time, or...
You always messing my line up, Terry.
What is it?
The line is, it's a good time!
That's it.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later, Terry.
See ya.
Great catching up with TW, as always. Man, I tell you, it's just been, it's just rolling and rolling, ladies and gentlemen. So much content, so much stuff that we got to come out with. And it's Sunday, and we only get 2 days, and then like in those 2 days, we be having to do other stuff, so we can't always, get XTV stuff done. But, thank you out there to the fans who bear with us, who enjoy the XTV content, who enjoy everything that we do, and who just bear with us, in the month of June, the XTV World channel was pretty dry. We went and checked out some of the analytics and seen people clicking around, trying to find something to watch. That's the thing about XTV. I can't remember who made this point. It might have been me. I don't know. But it's like the XTV World channel. It's like it has to be. It's based on an update, almost a la carte. Well, no, that's probably the XTV East Coast, because it's already there. It's already ready for you. You know what I mean? And people can go back and find stuff on XTV East Coast. XTV World, it's just like, once you've seen it, a lot of stuff got replay value. Most of all of it, like all the episodes, they got replay value. But if you all caught up, you want new stuff. New. That's what wrestling is all about. It's all about brand new. It's all about recreating and innovating. And so, my apologies for things taking so long. But I think we're back into the swing of things. We're getting things out there. Tune into the East Coast and tune into XTV World for more content, of course. And you can definitely look forward to more guests from me, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of guests down the pike. I mentioned on my last episode, AVW is going to be here celebrating my 50th episode. That's down the line. J Money coming up real soon. Who else is coming up, man? I think I got, I ain't going to say, man, because every time I say that one guy's name, he know who he is. Every time I say him, something always happens. But just know, ladies and gentlemen, Justin ain't forgot about y'all. I'm here, and I'm going to keep on providing for you. And I'm going to keep on making sure that as far as on my end, that it's a good time. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, from the beautiful, sunny state of Florida, and in my cold-ass apartment room, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see y'all next time. Big Trunks is coming. What?
Hey.
I'll see y'all next time, ladies